Hello, hello, hello. Good morning, Epic peeps. How are you? My name is Samantha, and I'm coming to you on behalf of Epic, empowering people, inspiring community. And happy Monday. It's beautiful here in Connecticut. So if you get a chance, get outside and enjoy that sunshine. For now, I ask you to stay where you are and watch us for about another 20 to 25 minutes because the person I'm going to introduce in a few minutes is someone you're not going to want to miss. So just stick with us while I go through a few announcements. Again, my name is Samantha. Epic is empowering people, inspiring community. We're a conscious living organization that publishes a beautiful bi monthly educational and inspirational magazine. We host events. We have a whole lot of stuff happening. So, Epic is a community. So, welcome. The other half of Epic, Lisa, is in Cheshire right now. Please let Lisa know that you can see me and hear me because that is the only way I know I'm not talking into a screen. Okay? So, Lisa is working the feed. Thank you. Please give her a shout out on a scale of 1 to 10. How you doing today? I hope you're close to a 10 or a 10. And if you're not, I hope you're closer by the time this broadcast ends. So thank you for spending your morning here with us. Um, a little announcement. For the past few months, we've been saying, we're here for you in times of isolation, for prayer, and that is always true. We are here to support you in whatever you need, whether it be prayer, whether it be just someone to talk to, someone just to vent with. We're here. Our contact information is throughout the social media feeds. My email is Samantha at TricountyCT.com. However, we want to also let you know we're here to support you um, through your business endeavors. We have great resources available for everybody. If you're looking for a business coach, reach out. We have a list of coaches, practitioners, um, therapists, counselors, musicians, whatever it is. We have a community of resources and of beautiful people wanting to support you on your healing journey. So, no more about that because, like I said, you want to meet this person I'm bringing on. I'm going to introduce you in a moment to Aaron Weston. He is the founder and freedom facilitator of Nourishing Necessities. He is a very strong energy. I just met Aaron a few minutes ago via the platform we're using. And the instant that his feed came through, I could feel the power. Very strong, very grounded, centered individual who brings with him a strength, not only physical, but a spiritual strength that I know you're going to connect with as I did. One thing that really stuck out was his the title, I guess, that he takes, and that is the Nature Ninja, Nourishing Ninja, right? So when you think of ninja, you think of this dude dressed in black with a mask and everything, right? That's okay, but I had to look up the definition of ninja, and what I came up with that resonated with me and that really seems to fit this gentleman is if you take the word ninja and you break it down, Nin, it means persevere in Japanese, right? Nin is persevere. And ja or sha means person. So a ninja is a person who perseveres, that's highly skilled in a particular area, whether it be physical abilities or, in this case, a combination of spiritual, conscious strength and power. So, without any more of me, I am going to bring on Mr. Aaron Weston, our nature nourishing ninja. And it worked. Thank you, thank you, thank you for taking your time today to be with us.
Uh,
Um, you know, um, I think it's important that we show up for our world and for our community. So thank you for showing up. And can you just tell us a little bit, Aaron, about yourself? A little bit about your path, how you've come to be who you are right now in our world, and what you bring,
mm,
please.
I would love to. Okay.
Thank you.
It started at an earlier age when I discovered my ability to affect healing. And that was through my mother, who had fibromyalgia before it was a word, before they had any way of diagnosing these things. And she would ask me and my two brothers, "Can you give me a shoulder massage?" And my brothers are smart. They'd come over and just kind of tickle her. "Was that good?" And she's like, "Ah, get out of here." And so I would put some energy into it, some effort. And just like a kid, I'd put effort into it, and to the point where my hands were hurting, working this. And she got some result from that, from the massage aspect. And she would ask me later on, "Can you do that again?" And I would. It was a couple of times it just became my job. So I'm sitting there with my hands on her shoulder and shoulder blade, and I'm thinking about my toys. I want to go back to playing. I don't want to sit here and do this. And I'm just kind of spacing out. Within that so-called spacing out, I was able to tune in. And that's when I started feeling things. It was really interesting. It was more like a magnetic resonance, sort of a pulling. And so I was guided to these areas, and then my thumb felt the lump, which was a knot. I know that just now. And my mother would say, "Yes, right there." And then I would start to press. And within that pressing, I'd feel the disbursement. And so I called this knot, this bump, an evil village. And when I pressed it, I felt the disbursement, and to me, that was the evil people leaving. And so I would have to go collect them. Couldn't let them get away. So from pressing the knot, feeling the disbursement, and tracing those areas outward, her pain was relieved within 5 minutes. So that definitely became my job. It was always in there. She was super impressed and called me Magic Hands. And so I took that and kind of ran with it. She let me work on her friends, which kind of scoffed at me, these big Italian women, like, "Oh, is this kid going to do for my back problem?"
Yeah, right.
And I would give them a massage, and they're like, "Whoa, you're actually really, really good." And what really put it into perspective for me, and I didn't know how conscious I was of it at this age. And it might sound a little vain or petty in a sense, but I was a little kid. There was a woman down the street that all the neighborhood was in awe of. Her name was Buffy. She was a model. Her brother was a soldier. So we looked up to both of them like, "Wow, the beautiful Barbie and GI Joe." And one day, all my friends were all doing a little boy crush thing, like, "Oh, Buffy, Buffy." And she comes out on the porch, and she's, you know, fidgeting. I said, "What's going on?" She said, "Oh, my shoulder. Yeah, I got something going on over here." I was like, I'm 8 years old, maybe. Yeah. So my mama said I have magic hands. I can help you. You can help? And all the other people looked around. She's like, "All right, give it a try." So I put my hands on her. I was like, I said something about the fragrance that I was smelling. I said, "Do you use lotion?" or something like that. And her brother, seemingly embarrassed, was trying to kind of pick a joke. "Oh, he's saying that you smell like cocoa butter or something of this." And within 2 minutes, she softened. Everything relaxed. And she was like, "Wow, you are actually really good." And all of my friends in that moment were like, "Oh, he is
Wow.
the one." So that was a boost of confidence. And like I
Mm,
said, it could sound petty or vain in that sense, but it's not. It was a realization that I had a power that other people may not have been able to express in that
mm,
moment. And
yeah.
then I tied that together with my impulse to help people, impulse to serve, and impulse to bandage, band-aid, and clean wounds when my friends would get scrapes and cuts. And so from that point on, I knew. And there was this another surge within me that always wanted to work. My brothers were a few years older, and they got into their jobs, and I was like, "I want to work, I want to work." "Oh, working's not all it's cracked up to be. You're going to hate it when you get there." And I didn't. I was able to get my first job. I got paid 50 cents more than anybody else in my age bracket. I refused to work for a McDonald's or Burger King, which was a path that I seen most teenagers going on.
Mhm.
And so I stepped it up and got a job at D'Angelo's. And I even got hired with one of my best friends at the time.
Wow.
So it couldn't be any better.
Yeah.
Then I determined that I was a very ethical worker, and my friend was not. He lasted 3 months, and I lasted a few years, a couple of years
Wow.
at that place. My second job was a state legislative office building, and it was a catering service inside there. My mother worked for Verizon Wireless at that time. Their cafeteria and catering service moved into the LOB of Hartford, and they offered everyone a job. So at 17, I was on my way to 18. I went from D'Angelo's, a couple of years there, right into this as a sandwich man. Within that, my work ethic persevered. I like your
Yeah.
definition of the
Yeah.
ninja. And it just became obvious that there was something more to me. So they trained me to be a sous chef. And I always had this passion for cooking. So my career took me into a long 9, 10 year path of cooking. And I wanted to go to school and be a chef. Then I seen the cutthroat industry, I seen the horrible foods, even though I wasn't necessarily health conscious myself. I understood what was going on, and I didn't want to be a part of it anymore. And I realized going to school to be a chef, if I was very successful, what is that going to get me but being somebody's maid? Being a personal chef to some celebrity or catering parties that I might want to be at instead of cooking for. And then through this, I got to see the corruption in politics, working at our own legislative office building, 18-hour days when a state's in special session, and all they're doing is ordering alcohol and catering and staying up for very, very long times. The Capitol Police at that time, knowing I was underage, offered me a beer. I refused. I said, no, I'm okay. And there was after party activities around the LOB, and people smoking cigars
I'm
inside
sure.
the building. I was like, wow, this is our politics. Okay, I need to change this. I knew that at 18. I was like, I needed to change this. I should be a politician. But then when I started talking to a bunch of them, I realized it was business. Business that has the much upper hand in these policy makings. And so I decided, okay, I need to be in business. I need to go in for that. And so through my cooking, reaching the dead end spot, I was invited to a New Age fair, which I currently do healing at the Astrological Society of Connecticut, and the Keeney Memorial Center in Wethersfield hosts it quarterly. And they've been doing it for 30 to 50 years. And my first place that I went, I was invited by this waitress at the sports bar that I was working at. I wanted to get out of cooking. I said, I'm done with cooking. I'm done with this industry. My brother got me a job as a bar back. I didn't drink, so it was easy to get by. But funny enough, on a Super Bowl Sunday, this kitchen was going to crash, and I'm delivering back and forth. And if the tips from the bartenders and the waitresses get messed up, then it affects me. So I went into the kitchen. I said, do you need help? And they're like, you know how to cook? I said, a little bit. And then kind of pushed him to the side and did my magic chefing thing. And the manager was so impressed that he hounded me for about a week, saying he was going to pay me all this, do that, blah, 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 blah. And I was like, no, I don't want to cook. I'm out of that industry. I'm retired. He's like, you're 20 years old. What do you mean you're retired? I was like, I don't want to do it. So he caught me mopping the floor one day in a less than optimal mood. And he said, if you don't want to mop floors again, come work for me. I said, and then he whispered, I'll pay you this. I said, okay, all right. But I have to tell you, at this point in time, I'm making a lot of money giving massages on the chair to the bartenders after hours. So one of them, again, did that thing that Buffy did. And I said, can I help you with your neck? And she was like, sure. So I gave her a little massage, 5 minutes, pain was gone. The next one that was next to me was like, can I do that? I was like, yeah. So I worked on her. 5 minutes, her kink was gone. The money started stacking up on the bar. I was like, whoa. The third one that I worked on was a English teacher in school. She just bartended as a part-time job to supplement income. She said, I get professional massages every week. You are vastly better than mine. If you go to school, I'll be your best client. And then it hit. Now, rewind back to the astrological fair. During this time, I was invited by one of the waitresses to go to this. She brought me my first stone, Snowflake Obsidian, and encouraged me to get Celestine Prophecy. At that point, I'd bought a couple things and only had enough money for one book. It wasn't called To the Celestine Prophecy. It was called To the Peaceful Warrior, a book written by Dan Millman. Very powerful book, a very powerful person. Now, with all my money going into the book, I went into the back where the healing room was. And there was a massage therapist, a male practitioner, on the chair. And it sign said $1 a minute. And I said, he's like, you want a massage? I said, I have $1, I'll take a minute. And we kind of laughed, and I was like, "No, I'm just teasing. I wouldn't do that." I was like, "I've always thought that it would be beneficial to be in that career, in that field. My mother told me, and I have this gift, blah blah blah. But my hands used to get tired, you know." He's like, "Okay." He's like, "Let me take you on your first lesson. Sit down." So I sat on the chair, and he gave me a 15-minute massage, talked about body mechanics and why my hands were hurting and how I could use leverage and all this. And as I was already into martial arts, so I understood that point. And he
Yeah.
gave me his business card for Fox Institute. Now at this time, I'm getting into indigenous cultures, power animals, spirit journeys, this. And one of my totems was the fox. So this was Fox Institute. I put the card in my wallet, forgot about it, went back to work. Within a month, I was in the kitchen, became manager of that kitchen, spent another 6 months, and then I was absolutely done. Absolutely done. I was like, I have to get out of here. So I went to go find that card, couldn't find it, but then I remembered the name Fox. So I called up the Institute. There was a Kathleen Cook. Her last name was Cook. So I'm seeing these synchronicities in it.
Yeah.
She would not tell me the price of the program. I was like, "What is the price of the program?" She's like, "Just come in for an interview." I was like, "I want the price." She's like, "I want you in." I was like, "All right, fine." So I went there with the girl that I was dating at that time, and she helped me knock off any excuses that I had for not starting. Now, I didn't have money, I didn't have this, but there was financial aid and all these other things. And then my last little hiccup was a car. And she said, I'll bring you to school. You
Well,
start this spring, not next fall." I said, "Okay." So I did it. I signed up in Fox Institute, and then I bought a car from my friend for $100, a Volkswagen Fox. So I'm driving in my Fox to the Fox building. And I
I
knew,
love it.
oh my God, it was so good. And so my teachers were not just science. They were everything. They're so balanced. I had a medium teaching us anatomy and physiology. She would start class with chimes, teach us how to make vibrational remedies. Another one was a shaman who was adopted and by indigenous people as well and practiced those. She was on a mission to get us into a sweat lodge, wasn't able to, but had us walking around the parking lot, hugging trees, noticing things, burning sage. And she actually left because of politics within the school, went to another massage school for about 4 months, and then came back to us. She said, "I can't leave this group." She's like, "They're paying me more over there, and I don't have to do as much work, but there's no quality in these students there. It's
Yeah.
a science program." So she came back and wrote out the entire program until we graduated. I'm still in contact with her now. I visit her at her home in Virginia years later. And so that was the deep connection that started me on the professional path of massage therapy.
So
And
it seems like your entire journey has been, I say divinely orchestrated. I
mm-hmm,
mean, 8 years old. I have grandchildren that are 9, 6, 7, and 2, and I'm amazed that at 8 years old you were actually feeling the bumps
mm-hmm,
and able to intuit that, and bless you for following your soul, right? Because how easy could it have been when the buddies were laughing at you or poo-pooing you, or you couldn't, you didn't have the money for school, very easily have given up.
mm-hmm.
So that is where the ninja, the perseverance, kudos to you, man. High five, because it's a lot easier sometimes to run.
It is.
Um,
It is.
so now, fast forward with your practice now, you offer holistic health services. Can you tell us a little bit about that? I know that you had mentioned food. So is there food involved in a program? If I was to come to you, how would that look?
Okay, yes. We would start with a conversation, seeing where you're at mentally, physically, spiritually, get that big picture. And then from there, see where your goals are, see where you want to be, and then draw that map for you, all with the basics. Now, we have a body, a mind, and a spirit, and I don't see them as separate. I can't. And I've had a lot of spiritual people say, "Oh, you're so spiritual, you're so physical." I'm like, what is the difference? I don't get that. But this integration approach now infuses exercise, nutrition, diet, spirituality with energetic practices and meditation, mindfulness, and what was that last one? So food, fitness, mindfulness, spirituality, and herbal remedies and self-care products, right? Self-healing techniques. And what I added previously to the quarantine, added to that was one healing session a month. So they would get a hands-on healing session or a shamanic journey or whatever it is that they felt that they needed, or I felt that they needed, to help them on their journey through. And at this current time, people can pick from the menu selection, just get a bodywork session, just get some Reiki. They can learn. What I like to do, such as Epic, is empower. You know,
Yep.
your title is everything that I work for, and it's just amazing. I want to say quickly, I was a massage therapist, then a yoga teacher, then a health coach, right? Because as a massage therapist, we were coming and getting fixed. The magic hands, woo, yay. And then I was like, you're not exercising. So then I taught yoga. And then I realized, okay, they're getting the body work, they're getting the exercise. Nobody's eating right. Okay, I have to become a health coach. So that's how it all came down. And when I started my health coaching business, it was good, but I was unable to stop. I was unable to continue the coaching, and I would just go for the healing. Meaning, something would come up for somebody during a conversation about food or whatnot, and if they're in my presence, we then go into Reiki. We then go into the healing, which was good and it was powerful, but it kept me from being an actual health coach. It actually kept me from teaching about food, teaching about nutrition, and empowering people to do it on their own. So that's just one important element that I want to add here to the empowerment factor. So when you come, I will help you and I will assist you get through your injuries, get through these things, but it is completely up to you to do the work, you know, and that is very clear. What is so cool about it is the wide range of varieties that it can deal with, you know, and massage is one. I don't currently hold a license anymore. I don't want one because they say I can't touch the spine. They say I can't do this, I can't do that. And that is not true. That's not how I work. And as a Reiki practitioner in Connecticut, we're not supposed to have our hands on unless you have your ministry. So I got my ministry to lay hands on. And I am also a Thai massage practitioner. And so in Connecticut, if you get the Thai training and you're a registered yoga teacher, you can be a massage therapist so long as it's not more than 50% of your income. So this way, I found ways, again, the ninja I want to speak to, and I'm probably not answering your question entirely, but
No, it's perfect.
okay, good. The ninja came from oppression. The ninja were farmers. These ninja were attacked by the corrupted samurai, not the original samurai that protected the land and the tradition, but the ones that were hired, such as, you know, maybe our police force at this time, you know, the bad apples. They were hired to take out farmers, take out people's lands, and they were forced to hide, and that's why their weapons are sickles. That's why the weapons are these strange looking things. These are all farming tools. And they would hide under places while the samurai came, and they would have to come out and protect their land. And they learned and trained to win by any means necessary. Now, as a fighter, I don't follow that philosophy by any means necessary. I am more honorable and peaceful in the way I approach mine, and I train extra hard to restrain somebody without hurting. All right, so I understand where that comes. Where the nourishing part, by any means necessary, will I nourish. You know, and that's any avenue, anything that works. And that's shamanic in the essence of there is we don't care what works as long as it works. You know, and it's a result-based process. So we would come, we would have a conversation, we would see where you're at with food, we would see where you want goals to land in that part. I can give you recipes, I can give you time management skills, I can give you herbal remedies to drinking tea, and as water, so food, water, shelter, clothing. So nourishing necessities is all about water, clean water. So we have filtration systems, so we have all this for sale. If somebody doesn't have any financial income to get an entire filtration system and they have a water, we can add this tar stuff called shilajit, and that remineralizes the water. And so that's one way. So we have everything from the poorest bracket of financial income to the highest, and we can meet the needs in any range. And so we would talk about your food. We would talk about how you want to eat and how I can help you change. And my nutritional training came from the philosophy of bio-individuality. Not everybody can be a vegan. Not everybody can be a meat eater. Not everybody can do all this. And I've been vegan. I've been all that. And I'm done with the shaming. I'm done with all this political propaganda that's separating people and causing civil wars about food. Like,
Yeah.
eat what helps you.
Right,
That's
right,
there's nothing spiritual about food. It's just
right,
so. That's that. Water, we have that down. Water within and water without, and so taking baths, going out into the rivers, the lakes, connecting, keeping yourself hydrated inside and outside, praying to the water, talking to the water, bringing in that element of it. Clothing, we don't really talk much about in the programs, but I have natural fabric clothing, functional. I like to be, relaxed, but I also have to be a ninja. So as baggy as my clothes may be, they have to be functional enough so I'm not tripping all over myself.
right, right,
But
right.
the only point to that is the natural fabrics allowing our energy from a Qigong Tai Chi perspective to flow more freely. Um, Tai Chi practitioners, Reiki practitioners, they're known to wear silk to keep their energy in, and so they're not leaking all over the place. So that's the only time that I would add that part to it. Shelter, we talk about the home, we talk about the environment, because in my school training too for nutrition, it said it doesn't matter if you're eating broccoli if you're not happy in your marriage.
Right.
It's going to take you, it's going to eat you, right? And so that shelter could be anything from your environment energetically to your physical home. And we add elements of feng shui to bring it into there, smudging, cleansing, and then more so family plans and programs. Because what I get often is, say you come to me, you want to change, you have 2 kids and a husband that doesn't, you're going to be on a losing battle.
Right.
So you'll change and then you'll start separating from the rest of them. Now that's okay if that's meant to be, but if it's not and you want to hold on to that family structure, and this is what we need to talk about in the beginning, because all I do is set up guardrails for people based on their own goals, and I keep them in that. People will try to jump over those guardrails and go all over the place. I said, no, 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 no. So if you tell me in the beginning you're not happy in your family, you don't think it's fulfilling your spirit's path and your soul, and you want to go, I'll help you get out. If you say there's some contingencies and the energies involved in this family structure, I want to fix it, I will help you there. If you say you want to fix it and you want to leave, I just want to remind you of that to keep you in your path and goal.
Love it.
Yeah.
Love it. Keep you in the lane. We
Yes.
talked about our lanes last week with Amber Auntie, and when you just said the guardrails, that immediately came in too. Is like you're helping people stay in the lane, stay in between the guardrails. They're going to do whatever they need to do or want to do, but you're there just to guide them. I love the fact that you just mentioned the shelter, the home environment. So what I envision, and your practice is in Hartford.
Yes.
Okay. I believe Lisa's shared it. If not, we'll be sure to share it, all your contact information. Um, but you're like a whole. Talking to you, you just in 25 minutes or whatever it is, explained what we need whole.
Mm-hmm.
To be whole, to feel whole, to show up as whole, and to share that wholeness. So I want to thank you for showing up and for doing what you're doing. Um, there's a quote that there's something that Aaron typed in a pre-guest question, whatever. And it really stuck out. It said, to put it simply, with great power comes great responsibility. I'm able to respond, so I do. And listening to your story and your journey, it amazed you. Respond from 8 years old, you responded with responsibility, and you saw it. So when's your book coming out?
Oh, it's been pushing me lately. It has been pushing me. I've seen a bunch of young people make books a little too early, but and I don't want to be that person, but there's no excuse at this point. I do have a well-rounded perspective. I love that you touched on the whole aspect of it, and what I want to say is I've reintroduced the W back into the whole. All right, so I'm hoping to start writing. I'm hoping to get into it. I write rhymes now. I write lyrics. I write songs. So I'm in between whether I'm just going to write a big song book, a big rap book, or I'm going to actually break down all these philosophies and put them together. I
I
sometimes
have no doubt
Yeah, I can say I
No
can
doubt
sometimes
that
be
would.
too macro, and so I scale it down into one. But you know what I also say is look at Webster Dictionary. I think I have a mission like that where it's gonna take time. It's a big whole thing, but it is very simple. So while some people are telling me to scale it back, I'm persevering and saying no. No, I have a much bigger vision than these little ones, and it's
Love it.
whole, right? And so when you think of the word whole with a W, it's full. When you think of whole with an H, it's a whole.
Love
I'm
it.
not falling in that hole anymore. And they use the excuse of holy. That's entitlement mentality. So let's bring it back to the whole.
I
Thank you.
love it. I will remember that. I will remember that. And don't forget, you could always start small and submit a recipe or an article for Epic, and
Okay.
we'll touch base on that. But as we begin to close our time, we know and we affirm that those who are watching live have received the message, and those that'll watch later will receive the message. And thank you for being that bringer,
Mm.
of yourself, of that power, empowerment. Um, and I want to ask you, what comes to your mind? Excuse me. What comes to your mind when you hear the term open hearts, open door?
And actually, my center, the physical place, open heart, open door. I see, I can see a portal. I see a portal opening up with no vacuum, no luring, just open with a resonance that doesn't go too far. It stays within its own zone. And it is a beacon of light that magnifies. And once that signal is heard, then people will come in. When they come to that open heart, we have to let go of all of our preconceived notions of who they are and why they're here, and simply adapt to that moment. And that is the open door. And open doors don't close, right? And so we don't throw anybody out for any judgment. We don't throw anybody out for any reason other than absolute psychopath behaviors and violent activities. And even within that, if it wasn't built around the whole system of drugs and keeping people confined, I would say a padded room isn't necessarily the worst idea. There's times that I would love to be in a padded room and just let everything out.
Mm-hmm.
But if that padded room isn't contained in a proper container, society and the rest of us don't understand. You can imagine somebody on an ayahuasca trip or Zapo going wild into their subconscious and playing out all these traumas. That is fine and okay, but not for a passerby that sees that. And
Yeah.
so we have a duty with that open door to keep it safe for everybody. And that's where the open heart comes in. So open heart, love, compassion, acceptance. Open door means you're welcome to come into a place of shelter and sanctuary.
Love it. Thank you so, so, so much.
Oh,
I
thank
am, um, yeah, I can't thank you enough. Really. Thank you. And to, I'm getting choked up, I think. To everybody, please, as you go about your day, just take care of yourself, stay healthy, stay centered in that vibration of love, stay you. And until tomorrow, stay tuned and peace out, Epic Scouts. Thanks.